Okay. Like Tony mentioned, we had an exhibition game yesterday with Miles, and exhibition games I've always looked at as an opportunity. It's basically a dress rehearsal. It's an opportunity for us to turn the lights on, all the bright lights on, and as well as play in front of an audience for the first time. And I thought our group responded well to that. I thought everybody was had the right amount of energy and attention to what and intention about what we were doing. Now we move on from facing an NCAA Division II opponent to facing a top 25 program on Friday when we travel to Florida State. So obviously things will probably look a little bit different. And things will also look a little different from the standpoint in the exhibition game. And I tell our kids this before the game, that everybody's going to play in the exhibition game. The result doesn't count. Stats don't count. Whether you win or lose doesn't matter. So everybody gets a chance in the exhibition game. All 14 I told them that beforehand. No matter what the outcome or result was, everybody would get a chance. And fortunately for us, we had 14 kids play. Everyone played at least 8 minutes, and nobody played more than 21. So, again, it's not going to look like that when we play a game that matters. We're going to, whittle down the number of people who plays. I haven't figured out what that number is yet, but it won't be 14 in a game that's competitive. So, we'll use the next 3 days. Our team has today off, and then we will use Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to prepare for the game against Florida State and what is beyond. So that's kind of where we are right now.
Rick, just how good does it feel to have 14 to play with a year later?
Well, it feels really good, but when we had, I think for 18 games last year, we had 7, and which I had never done once in my career, and I did it 18 times last year. So, it does feel very nice to be able to push buttons, because there were no real buttons to push last year. We basically just had to throw the 5 we had out there and then give them a break here and there. And the thing we also talked about with that was that we had no competition, no healthy competition within the team, because everybody knew they were playing. And healthy competition does drive people to make themselves better. And so I think the fact that we now have 14, and now that we know that if someone's not performing to their fullest, that we can slide somebody else in. Again, hopefully that makes us all better, because of the fact that now we know that there's a price to be paid to being on the court. Last year, and I said this to our team, last year we were giving out free tickets to the court. It was free. Anybody wanted to play, free tickets. This year the tickets have a price. And so, and hopefully, again, that competition, that healthy competition, does make us better.
Rick, could you talk some about Lacey? You started her yesterday. She did some good things. What does she bring to your team?
Well, Lacey, obviously we're happy to have her. She was here last year, sitting out due to NCAA transfer rules, and Lacey is someone who has competed at the Division I level and been a part of success at the Division I level, and was a factor on that team when she was at Troy. So we expected her to be a factor with us, and she's earned the opportunity to be our starting lead point guard. She's earned that opportunity through the practices we've had to this point, and so we expect her to. As long as she keeps bringing what she's bringing and doing what she's doing, we expect her to maintain that spot. Lacey brings she brings good vision. She delivers the ball well. She takes care of the ball well, and she's also capable of putting the ball in the goal too. And she's solid defensively. So all of those things count, and they matter. And so I feel really confident about having Lacey out on the floor for us at the point guard position, which is a very important position.
Has there been plenty of competition so far with having all these bodies now that you didn't have last year?
Yeah, well, there has been competition. The one thing, though, that kind of amps it up a little bit is when we start playing games, because right now there's always, if we're going 5-on-5 as an example in practice, or we have some drill work where we go 4-on-4-on-4 and we rotate folks in with the extra 2 bodies. Everybody's playing in practice. So sometimes they don't really see the benefits or the shortcomings of their work till the games start, and they all of a sudden see, well, I'm not out there that much. So we also, one of the things that I do, an exercise I do with the team I did this a week ago. I met with each individual player, and I asked each individual to give me who's the best 5, who's the next best 3. All right, well, that leaves 6, because that's 8 and 6 is 14. So who's the next best 2 out of that 6? And it's always interesting to do that exercise to see what the perspectives of your players. Sometimes they see exactly what you're seeing, and sometimes they don't see anything close to what you're seeing. And so it's always very interesting to do that and see some consensus and some major disagreements. And so again, and then some of the results of that I've shared individually with certain players who may have had a warped sense of what they believe the truth was. And when I feed them the truth, sometimes it's eye-opening. And so that's which is one of the reasons why I do that exercise with them, at that point in the year.
14, that's the most you've had since you've been here, correct?
That is correct.
Was there some reluctance before to recruit to the point where you have 14 on a roster? Under
normal circumstances, the answer is yes. Based on last year, the answer is no. I'd have taken a 15th. We actually offered them all out. Now, I wasn't handing them out like candy. I mean, we were offering them out to people who we felt could help us and were capable. And we got to 14. But we would have taken a 15th if we could have gotten one that we felt was capable, that would have helped us, it would have been a benefit to us. So 14 was the number we got. And I told the team at the end of last season, this is what we're doing. We're going to try to bring in 15 because I don't want to live through this again. And so, but we got to 14, and then once we got to that number, we were comfortable with what we had. We had offered the 15th out. It didn't go our way, and so we just held on to that 15th. But this is, in my career, other than 1 year as a head high school coach, my first year as a head high school coach at BC Arena, I had 15 active players. I've never had 15 since, and I've only had 14 active players about twice. So it's a big number. There's no doubt about it. And so, it's. But again, necessity dictated that was something that we did.
Lacey, when Coach Pietri did the exercise of naming 5 and then naming 3, then naming 2, did you put yourself in the first 5?
Yes, I did. I thought
Smart.
Well, I just thought my senior year, I should go ahead and accept that leadership role. And so I went ahead and put myself in as one of the best 5 on the team. And I feel like the team has enough confidence in me to be in that best 5 as well.
Rick, she talks about leadership. Have you seen that leadership from her?
I have. I do think that that's something that can continue to grow as the season progresses. One of the things that when you get into the season, you do face adversity when you're in preseason practice, but it's a different kind of adversity when you get in the season. And adversity comes and finds you. You don't have to look for it. It's coming. Even on the best teams I've coached, we've had extremely adverse situations that we've had to overcome. So it will come find you. So when adversity hits in that way, that's when you need your leadership the most. And so I have a lot of confidence in Lacey being able to help lead along with our other seniors. And when those circumstances present themselves, that's when I'll need them to step up and be able to help get us through those adverse circumstances.
You didn't have Destiny McLean last year. How has she looked coming back?
She's looked really good. I wouldn't necessarily say she's at 100%, but she's close. She's really close. And so, this is a young lady who went literally 19 months without playing the sport at all. And so I was, the very first time I saw her actually go through a basketball workout with us was the end of September. And I was pleasantly surprised, not knowing how much rust you might see in that situation. But I like how she's progressed. She kind of has a practice pitch count, if you will, and that's after consultation with the doctor who is currently treating her with her feet. because her situation is she has both of her feet have issues, and so we're managing that, and that's something we'll continue to manage throughout the course of the year.
You're not far removed from a deep run in the OVC playoffs. Is there a sense this year now with healthier numbers that you can start to get back towards that, or is it kind of a wipe the slate clean and start home?
Now, I do think, and I've told our team this, from a standpoint of ability, I think we've assembled enough to be able to be competitive and give ourselves a chance in the OVC tournament. I do believe that. There's a difference in me believing it, and us actually going out and doing it and taking care of the business. And so the business now needs to be taken care of. And so, and then the other thing that you don't know, though, as you move forward, and you cross your fingers that you don't have any major health issues moving forward. And right now, fortunately, we've got some minor health issues. We don't have major ones. Everybody's in uniform and everybody's cleared to play. We have some minor stuff that we are dealing with that is affecting us to a degree. But everybody's at least able to participate. So, hopefully, I have had seasons I've coached where I didn't have anybody miss a game. It has happened. Hopefully we'll have something similar to that. And if we do, and I think if we can blend well, because that's another thing when you have those kind of numbers and you have all those personalities in a sport that only 5 play. It's different in a sport like football where there's roughly 25 starters if you include situational starters. We've only got 5. So when you've got 14 battling for 5, sometimes there are times that a healthy competition can become unhealthy, because people get jealous and so forth. So we've got to be able to manage, while we're competing with each other on a daily basis, we also have to be pulling for each other when we're facing opponents. It's okay to compete with each other at practice, but once we're facing our opponents, we're all competing against them. We shouldn't be competing against ourselves. And as long as we blend well, I think we're capable of doing, just what you said, making a deep run in the SEC tournament, as well as in the regular season.
And then, Lacey, you saw the season last season from far, and now you're kind of in the middle of it. Like you said, wanting to be a leader. Is there a sense from you of an appreciation that we now have a full set to work with, so to speak, as opposed to last year?
Yes, I think it's definitely a good thing that we have more people able to play, like 14 players, and then last year I think that was kind of the issue of what was going on. Like some games we didn't know the number exactly of how many was going to play, and like I say, having a roster with 14 people is definitely a good thing that helps us out this year.
And then as a senior, I know that your college career has been successful in a lot of spots, but finishing out, a stone's throw away from where you played your high school basketball. Talk about that aspect of being able to come back home, so to speak, down in Jacksonville and finish out your career.
Oh, it's exciting, and I can't thank Coach Pietri enough for giving me this opportunity to play here my last year in my hometown. And it feels good to just like last night, it felt good to step out on the court in my hometown with my teammates and enjoy the experience with everybody.
Well, we're certainly happy you decided to join us.
Oh, kind of a random question. You were one of the few that played at the old Pete back in high school. Talk about the changes.
It's different. To me, it seems brighter. It was a different atmosphere last night from the old Pete, but like I said, I haven't played an official game since my 12th grade year, and that's been a while. So it definitely felt good to be playing in the new arena.
Lacey, what has the competition been like in practice?
It's been competitive. Like I say, we like to compete, and like I say, we feel like this year we can be really good. And so we know that we have to compete against each other to help make each other better. So practices have been competitive, and on and off the 5-on-5s and the other drill work that we do, they've been competitive. So, and I really like that, the competitive. It makes fun. It makes practice fun and exciting, and you have to be able to work each and every day.
Coach, can you talk about the schedule? I know you got Clemson coming in, and you got some other regional opponents coming in, and you go on the road to Florida State and Ole Miss.
We do. We open at Florida State. And Florida State. It's interesting because Florida State is a school day game. There will be thousands of school children in attendance when we play that game. It'll be the middle of the day game, and I think that Florida State is using us as a tune-up for UConn because they have UConn after us. So I think that that's what they're using us for. After that, we face we're at Kennesaw State, and then we go to Ole Miss. Our first home game is the Sunday before Thanksgiving, Georgia Southern, and then we follow that the Tuesday before Thanksgiving with University of New Orleans at home. Then we go on we go to Boca Raton, Florida, to play in a tournament at FAU. We face FAU and either FAMU or Richmond. We also, as Tony mentioned, moving forward, we have Clemson coming in the Pete, and I don't remember. I mean, you'll have to ask the media relations folks the last time a Power 5 program came in to play basketball at Pete Matthews. I'm sure it's been a while. So so we have Clemson coming on December 21st. It'll be a 6 p.m. tip, and obviously, you know, I highlight that because that's what your fans want to see you play against, people who they recognize, that they see on TV on a regular basis, and a name. That doesn't mean the other folks who are bringing it here can't play, because they can. But your fans always like to see you play against somebody that they're used to seeing and used to hearing about. And so anytime you put a Power 5 team on your schedule, that's what your fans want to hear about. So we do have Clemson coming on the 21st, and we hope, particularly for that game, that we have people come, because it is obviously during the Christmas break, but that we do have some of the people in the community come out and support us, as we hope they do in every home game, whether it be Nicholls State, which is the home game prior to that, I believe, or like I said, Georgia Southern and New Orleans. We also have a non-D1 game against Bruton Parker, one non-D1 opponent. That is, I believe, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken. So that kind of rounds out our non-conference schedule, and you know, we'll lace them up and do the best we can with that particular slate that's laid in front of us.